The Great Devourer is the single gravest threat to the Imperium and to life as a whole in the galaxy. As of the 42nd Millennium, it has consumed thousands of worlds in its path and has attacked from many dimensional planes. It is on a direct course to Segmentum Solar and towards the homeworld of humanity, where the hundreds of trillions of people there seems like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But 300 years prior, they were virtually unknown, with only scant signs of weird life forms here and there that didn't really link up with the incoming threat that was the hive mind. So going backwards in time, here in this video we will showcase the earliest incidences and encounters with the Tyranids in the galaxy, which will surprise a lot of you guys here as to how deep and entrenched they really are. Let's get to it. First contact. In early 745 of M41, the Imperium made first contact with the Tyranids on the outpost world of Tyran Primus in the eastern outskirts of the galaxy. Before the invasion, previous analysis by the Imperial explorators had discovered entire planets coat of life, with lush worlds reduced to lifeless husks, which seemed like nothing ever seen before. As the Tyran outpost dutifully continued to file reports of dead worlds, the Hive Fleet drew inexorably closer. Then by a stroke of luck, Tyran Primus received an early warning when a survey ship encountered a cloud of alien bioships on the system's edge. Tyran's defense lasers opened fire the moment the first alien ships made orbit, but despite initial successes from the planet's defense lasers, the Tyranids lured the fleet into a trap. What seemed to be a few bioforms turned out to be thousands of bioships. Then the invasion took place, which overwhelmed the world, with mycetic spores crashing into the ocean and Tyranid forces tearing through the Imperial defenses. Within hours the planet fell, and Magos called Varnok, in his final act, sent a data codex into the depths of the outpost, into the ocean, which Inquisitor Kripman, by a stroke of luck again, will recover the codex, revealing the horrors of the invasion, and thereby naming the new alien threat as the Tyranids, after the planet Tyran. This was the first ever official recorded encounter with the Great Devourer. However, there are many prior incidences before this, as we will showcase. The Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. The Tyran incident was a shock to the Imperium. The codex that was recovered was by chance, and the Hive Fleet would have gone unnoticed, and the fate of Tyran would be shrugged off without much of a thought. However, there were other signs before this. What we would now know as part of the hive mind of the Tyranids was but a strange cult to alien gods to the Imperium. These are of course the Genestealers. In 680 of M41, the Imperium first uncovered the corruption of the Genestealer cults on Gosar Quintus. Inquisitor Chagrin, leading a team of Tempestus science, investigated the mining colony known as the Great Pit and discovered the cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, also called the Burrowers Beneath. This Genestealer cult was really well adapted to subterranean places, thriving in the dark, and were experts in burrowing and mining. Originating from the Tris mining dynasty, the cult lies hidden beneath the planet's surface and launch ambushes with unseen horror when the time for insurrection comes. However, their ultimate fate is never revealed to us in the Codex Genestealer cults. The Ymgarl Genestealers. As we dive deeper, we find traces of these Genestealers everywhere, which hints at the Tyranids being in the galaxy for a longer period of time than previously thought. One such well-known bunch of creatures are the Ymgarl Genestealers that were discovered in 500 of M41. These creatures were first discovered on one of Ymgarl's moons, long before Hive Fleet Behemoth arrived, and they have spread to other worlds by stowing away on cargo barges. At first they were thought to be indigenous life forms of the moons, strange xenos, but it was later revealed that they were Tyranid organisms all along. Ymgarl Genestealers are unique due to their ability to shapeshift, altering their physical traits as needed. However, this ability causes an accelerated metabolism that forces them to either constantly feed, to hibernate, or to starve to death. Unlike regular Genestealers, they don't have a typical mouth, but instead use feeding tentacles similar to those of a lictor, which they use to drain their prey of blood. Despite being Tyranids, they are considered outcasts by the main Hive Fleet, by the Hive Mind, which refuses to reabsorb them due to their genetic instability, fearing that they could contaminate the large gene pool, and it is widely accepted now that these specimens have been in the moon for thousands of years prior to their discovery. The Sin of Damnation incident. Almost 100 years prior to the discovery of the Genestealers in Ghosar Quintus, the Blood Angels on a redemption mission went on to clear a space hulk called the Sin of Damnation, killing 40,000 Genestealers that were hitchhiking inside the collection of rocks and spaceships. They sent in 80 Terminators to kill all of them, all in order to gain back honor, as it was in a previous space hulk disaster 600 years prior, in the last years of the 40th millennium, to be precise in 996 of M40, where they lost most of their chapter strength to these same type of creatures. The campaign to rid the unknown space hulk of these unknown monsters turned into a defeat for the Sons of Sanguinius, with only 50 Space Marines surviving in the end. This became a bottleneck that almost rendered one of the first founding chapters, the Blood Angels, almost extinct. The Cult of the Star Saviors. In yet another remote incident sometime in the 40th millennium, in a planet called Evergrind, a cult of these Genestealers called the Cult of the Star Saviors were encountered by the Imperial Navy. The bombardment by the ships eliminated the Patriarch, which was the leader of the entire cult, and also killed its Psychomagus. This then led to a chain of events that included a meteor shower, which was mistook as a sign where the Primus of the Genestealers, who was the war leader, invokes a revolution and a grand insurrection to pave the way for the incoming star gods they worshipped. This and quite a few other noted incidents has now revealed the depth of the Tyranid hive minds probing into the galaxy. The truth is that these infiltrating Genestealers had been silently and gradually preparing the galaxy for harvest, working their way into the galaxy for thousands of years prior to the invasion of the Hive Fleets proper. Advent of Hive Fleet Tiamat. So 7,000 years before the current setting, 7,000 years before the Hive Fleet Leviathan would be the single most deadliest threat to life in the galaxy, another Hive Fleet was encountered by an explorator fleet in the eastern fringes, in what is now known as the Tiamat system, in the years of M35, or the 35th millennium. This double binary star system containing 7 life-sustaining worlds was a shock to the explorator fleet, where every world was a death world, crawling with deadly life forms, all sharing a common ancestry despite their drastically different environments. It is speculated that the cosmic winds may have introduced molecular-coded Tyranid DNA to these planets in the eastern fringes, and also that these were sent beforehand as implant probe pathogens that would develop into a self-sustaining beacon ahead of the larger Hive Fleets. This is probably true with the continent-sized bioorganic structure of the planet called Zephoria that emits an immensely powerful psychic force with the terrible effect of the shadow in the warp. In the 41st millennium, some have theorized that this structure may have been a powerful beacon, guiding yet more Tyranid Hive Fleets into the galaxy, acting like their own twisted Astronomicon. The Legion of Ouroboris. In the 36th millennium, a cardinal called Miria Mulus, the Elder from the planet called Thracian Primaris, recorded the history of a Xenos invasion known as the Legion of Ouroboris. This occurred thousands of years prior. This vast swarm of winged creatures attacked the Helican sector, wiping out life on dozens of planets. And according to the Cardinal, an imperial crusade was led by the Emperor himself, eventually turning the tide, which ended in a brutal 12th-day battle near the Warp Rift by the Eye of Terror. From detailed analysis such as damage to the warlord titan called the Mechanica Cranus that was said to have taken part in the campaign, shows bioplasma and pyroacid burns typical of Tyranid weapons, suggesting that the attackers were actually early Tyranids in the galaxy. But the damage reports by augur dating casted doubt on the Emperor's involvement, which placed the battle after the Horus Heresy. In any case, this is widely now accepted as the first ever encounter with the Tyranids by the Imperium as a galactic entity, which would either be during the Great Crusade, or if the augur dating is correct, it'll be after the Heresy, probably early M31 or the 32nd millennium era. The case of the Dormant Hive ship. Commissar Caiaphas Cain is renowned as one of the Imperium's greatest heroes for winning countless battles. During one of his missions in 942 of M41, at a time when the Tyranids as a menace to the galaxy is well known, Cain and the Valhallan 597th Regiment were sent to a planet called Nusquam Phenomentibus, This was a desolate ice world far off any major warp routes, and he was sent there to deal with an orc outbreak. For Kane, this frozen wasteland held a familiar chill. He had been there on a mission 2 decades prior, and it seemed trouble had come calling again. During the fighting, Kane stumbled upon a dark secret buried for many millennia, a Tyranid swarm frozen in hibernation since pre-Imperial times, meaning before the 30th millennium, slumbering deep within the permafrost. It had been there for many millennia and was brought there by a crashed Hive ship long before Hive Fleet behemoth would make the first strike on the galaxy. The chaos of battle would start to wake the dormant creatures, but fortunately, this fragment of the hive mind was destroyed by the efforts of Kane and the Valhallan before it could be fully awakened. Now, there are 2 notable creatures that have existed in the galaxy since before the Imperium came to be. One is the Catachan Devil, which is a massive scorpion-like creature native to the death world of Catachan. But this creature has also been introduced to many other planets. These deadly beasts are built for killing, with a series of segmented body parts, each equipped with legs and a long poisonous barb-like tail. Fully grown adults can reach up to 30 meters in length and have up to 30 pairs of legs. Some xenobiologists and some Magus biologist experts believe Catachan devils might have been distant relatives of the Tyranid vanguard organisms, having evolved to live independently of their fleets, and their appearance bearing a striking resemblance to Tyranid bioforms like the Rippers and the Raveners, which is evidence to their shared origins. Then there are the Kraken, which are some of the most terrifying creatures lurking in the oceans of the space wolf's homeworld of Fenris. These colossal monsters can grow up to 5 miles long, with tentacles stretching 4 times that, which means 20 miles or 32 kilometers. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, some believing that these beasts have been around since the dawn of Fenris, with the oldest supposedly gnawing at the very roots of the planet. In the trophy halls of the space wolf's fortress, the Fang, there is a massive piece of leathery flesh, over 50 feet long, which is known as the Kraken's egg. After examining it, the Magus biologists concluded that the flesh is of Tyranid origins, hinting that the Kraken might have been descended from an early visit by the Hive Fleets, or might have evolved in a similar fashion as Hive Fleet Tiamat. Therefore, as you can see, the Nids have probably been around in the galaxy for thousands of years, even before the Imperium as a political entity was formed. Who knows where they came from and where they are ultimately heading towards. All that is known from sources is that the Great Devourer had already consumed countless galaxies and civilizations before coming to the current one. So that's all we have on the ancient history and timeline of the Tyranids in the galaxy. So if you like this video, then watch this other one too, and do check out our channel for other sci-fi and Warhammer content. Subscribe, like for support, and bang that bell icon for notifications on new video uploads. Till the next time, take care, boys.